It's Power Hour LSU.
PHL, extra little bit of swag, an extra little bit of taste.
Yeah. Man, I'm headed to the field. Terror of the tiger, I'ma always keep it real. Everything gon' get devoured, it's the power. LSU with Carter, it's the power. LSU with Carter, man, I'm headed to the field. Terror of the tiger, I'ma always keep it real. Everything gon' get devoured, it's the power. LSU with Carter, it's the power. LSU with Carter, man.
Are you freaking kidding me? What in the heck happened to Texas A&M today? One of the all-time most sinister moves in the history of coaching. You thought what Nick Saban did to LSU was bad. At least Les Miles was able to follow up with the national championship. But Texas A&M, that doesn't win anything. I mean, they don't win absolutely anything. We'll talk about what happened to them today. They lose a national championship, and their coach goes to their most bitter rival. We'll talk about that. We also have a huge PHL get-together this Saturday, okay? You cannot miss it. We'll have our guest here to break it all down. Mr. Ty Christiana will be joining the illustrious four-time guest club. He'll join us here in about 30 or so minutes to break down the PHL get-together. This Saturday, it's free for you to join at the Broadmoor Methodist Church. I'll be there all day in Shreveport. It's a memorabilia card show, and I have free giveaways to all the PHL Nation. So we will see you there. But pumped up about that. Obviously, the biggest newsworthy item today was TJ Wiley, who was an LSU legacy, is a 2025 wide receiver. No one really thought he was ever going to go to LSU. They tried, but it never was really going to come to fruition. This is a top 150 player. LSU gets a minor W, though, that he doesn't go to Georgia. He ends up going to Florida State. So that really shocked a lot of people. Most thought he was going to Georgia. He lives and plays high school football in Georgia, but he ends up picking Florida State. Not a huge loss for me when it comes to LSU because it's wide receiver. I think at this point in time, the only major focus you should have as an LSU fan is the defensive side of the football. 2025 recruiting, let's just say the recruiting class were to end today. Offensively, their class is good. Like, it is set. I won't say set. Obviously, you would like another offensive lineman. You would like, obviously, more than just one receiver in the class. But if it did end today and players had to sign and enroll now, the 2025 class on the offensive side of the football, everything else is kind of sort of icing on the cake. Obviously, DeCorian Moore really moves the needle, Jaime French, and so on and so on and so on. But I got to be real. I've got to be real. Defense is where your main focus should be in recruiting. Offensive side of the football is more important. We need a lot of help, though, defensively more than we do offensively, because Bryce Underwood and Harlan Berry are really going to carry you. And the offensive line recruiting, of course, has been kicking ass under Brian Kelly. Now, I want to talk about what ended up being the biggest controversy, though, of the day when it comes to LSU athletics. EA Sports listed their top most difficult places to play in all of college football earlier today. And it was actually the school of the hour that ended up winning this poll. It was Texas A&M. And I say it's a poll. EA Sports made this list. Top 10 toughest places to play. LSU ended up being number 3. Okay. As we say hi to Jared, Van, JJ. He says number 3 is trash. I'm looking forward to seeing you on Saturday, JJ. Even if it's for just a few seconds, come hang out, man. Get you some sports card stuff. Kyle Field ended up being number 1. Bryant-Denny Stadium ended up being number 2. So I have not been in either of these facilities over a decade. I was in Kyle Field for LSU's domination of Johnny Manziel. I was in Bryant-Denny Stadium for the Patrick Peterson game, and obviously November 5th, 2011. I've not been in either one of those facilities since then. Obviously, everywhere in the SEC has a level of difficulty to it. But the place that I felt was the most hellacious was Ben Hill Griffin, the Swamp in Florida. So I think, controversial opinion, my number 1 place, because obviously I can't say LSU, I would be biased. I would say it's Florida. That was the toughest place to play, but I was there during the peak of the Tebow years. So, and then number 2 would actually be Auburn. Auburn is really loud. Their sound system is really piped in. Auburn is incredibly raucous and very underrated. And then the stadium that I have not been to, but the one that everyone tells me is absolutely gorgeous, especially for a program that's not won a whole lot, is Williams-Brice, South Carolina Stadium. Very underrated. I would love to go visit. I've done radio in South Carolina for I've done radio in South Carolina for a while now as a fill-in guy. I haven't done it in a while. I honestly don't do it anymore because it was a lot of work to get called on a moment's notice and do 4 hours of Clemson and South Carolina coverage. But I would do it. They paid well. But the truth here is I'm a big South Carolina football supporter because their football support is amazing for a program that's really done nothing outside of the Spurrier years, Clowney and George Rogers, right? So I would put number 1 Florida, and then number 2 I would put Auburn. Now, do I think LSU is the toughest place to play? Yes, I do. Some of it is just the allure of it. But what I would also say is the national media picks LSU number 1. Okay. I saw Jake Crane say it. I saw Brandon Walker say it. I saw a friend of the show, Andy Staples, put LSU number 1. And the truth is, LSU is the place that everybody wants to go. If you were to ask all the SEC fans, what is your one bucket list trip that you've not made as a college football fan? I think consensus would say LSU for a night game would be number 1. All right. But the truth is, it's impossible to measure these things. Okay. I would also point out, and this might not be something that would be very interesting to a lot of you, but if you take a look at the against the spread numbers, LSU covers at an extremely high rate in Tiger Stadium. So that, of course, those point spreads that are released, they are baking in home field advantage. And LSU still outperforms the Vegas consensus when it comes to that. So big shout out to you fans. And I would also say to the powers that be that may or may not watch my channel, I won't say that I am the most viewed LSU channel or that people are piped in every single day to Power Hour LSU. What I would say, though, I went to 3 games this past year. That's the most I've been to in a year in, I believe, since 2019. The in-stadium experience is supposed to be getting a major facelift for the 100-year anniversary of Tiger Stadium, and it needs it. So one thing I would say is, yes, Tiger Stadium is a feared place to play, but I don't want our reputation to allow us to rest on our laurels, if that makes sense, right? I understand traffic after the game sucks, and people want to get on the road, and they don't want to be in traffic at 2 a.m. I get that. But keep Tiger Stadium number one. Keep it number one. Don't just say, well, the rest of the fans will take care of it. No, if you're at the game, stay till the end if it's close, because we need you. Okay? Let's go to Jared. He said he's going to witness the Darude sandstorm experience in person. Congrats, Jared. He's also going to Vegas. Excited Pick Six Cards. Hope to see you this weekend for the card show in Shreveport. I know it's a little bit of a trip for you, but it's worth it. It's a great show. Lots of Derek Stingley stuff. I'll bring my whole Derek Stingley collection if you're coming. Now, I do want to get into the big story, because this is the biggest story in college athletics. So, if you are under a rock, last night it was the College World Series final. Tennessee beat Texas A&M. Now, if you guys don't mind, I have not bet a baseball game all year. But one thing that I tend to do is in championship winner-take-all settings, I normally bet the under. Or I normally think games will be lower scoring in winner-take-all championship settings. Now, that wasn't the case last year. We ran up the score in Florida, but more often than not, I tend to think these games are lower scoring games in all sports. Everyone's tense, and so on and so on. And then I saw a tweet from Colin Wilson of the Action Network saying that the wind was blowing inward in Omaha. So I bet the under last night, 10 runs. And to have my bet lose on a meaningless wild pitch and a home run that barely left the park, and the most incredible slide into home plate we have ever seen in college baseball history, that is why the over cleared. So I just wanted to get off my chest how bad of a beat that was. Either way, congrats to Tennessee. Tony Vitello is probably the best coach in the sport. Jay Johnson's definitely top 5, but Tony Vitello, what he's done is incredible. Now, I wouldn't trade him for Jay Johnson. As you guys know, I'm a big Jay Johnson fan. But Tony, winning the first ever national championship of Tennessee baseball, turning this program into a power is very incredible. It's definitely one of the best coaching feats in the SEC of the past decade, what he's done at Tennessee. So big congrats to him. This is the second time in 3 years they have been the number 1 national seed, and I think their third trip to Omaha. He's just a hell of a coach. There's just no other way around it. I do think the better team won. With that said, LSU baseball will be back in Omaha next year, and we're going to be right in the thick of it. I'm pumped up. I'm pumped up to see it. I'm pumped up to see it. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be mad at what I said about Tony. You can't argue against his resume, it's so hard to get a program off the ground like he's done at Tennessee. Nevertheless, I love seeing Texas A&M fail. I do. There's no other program I'd love to see fail more than Florida. And this World Series was a really good run out. Florida losing, they get knocked out. A&M getting needled like they did. And the one thing that's lost in the whole Jim Schlossnagle situation, first off, Schlossnagle is the worst name I have ever heard in my life. I have never met another Schlossnagle, and Schloss is the worst short nickname for any coach ever. You can't. I don't ever want my coach name to be Schlossnagle. All right. Now, if you're my chemistry professor, sir. If you're the guy, working for Terminex, getting the bugs out of my house, sure, but not the baseball coach supposed to be rallied around. I got to say that all the time. Schlossnagle, that is the most negative aura name I have ever heard in my life. Okay. So, truth be told, he what this dude did. This is the all-time asshole move. But Texas A&M fans, holy crap, you got your hearts broken. Because if you actually watched game 2, Tennessee had to win that game late. So A&M felt that they were getting ready to win their first national championship in a sport that cares about, in a sport that people care about, outside of meat judging. A&M was finally going to do it. Didn't happen. They choked the game away. And then the next day, Texas officially fires their baseball coach. And all the baseball insiders are saying it's going to be Schlossnagle. All the baseball guys. All right. And George says Schlossnagle is a German name. I didn't know. I am a big fan of Germany soccer, though. Anyone could tell me that. Anyone could tell you that. Manuel Neuer, Bastian Schweinsteiger, Michael Ballack, if you want to go old school. I mean, we can go all the way back. Either way, Schlossnagle is still a terrible name. The lady who does our graphics is actually German as well. Big friend of the show. Shout out to Annie. I do feel bad for A&M fans, though. There is a soft spot in my heart for all fans. They just is. To lose the national championship the way that you did. And there were some weird, controversial calls in that Tennessee game. Weird. But you lose a game. By the way, you do end up covering the spread and costing me my over. So, F you, Texas A&M. Can't tag a guy to save your life. What the hell is that? All catchers should be able to tag the runner. There's only so much the runner could do in the base path, and he still scores. You end up losing by 1 run. That 1 run decided it. Whatever. Then for this coach to undress this reporter who asked a basic question, what are your thoughts on the Texas job? And he calls the reporter selfish. And that he made it, he really made it sound like when he left TCU to go to Texas A&M, he made it sound like he left his wife and kids back in Fort Worth, that they were left to be on their own, that they were getting ready to go live, I don't know, under an interstate. He made it sound like that his family was left out to dry, that he had to really get over the hump, getting a raise and going to Texas A&M. It made him sound like he was a victim. Just in 24 hours, take the Texas job. I could not believe it, but I could totally believe it. College sports is sleazy. This is a sleazy business. Okay? I have not seen a single player, as much as people complain about the portal era and players and all that, I have not seen a single player do something even close to this level of sleaziness. Scumbag, I think it's a little strong word, but it applies here. You don't do that. You just don't. And yes, there are people that watch this channel that are really plugged into Texas. There are people that watch this channel that are really plugged into Texas A&M. You have seen them. One is a little bit more vocal than the other, but we do have Texas A&M fans and Texas fans watching this. There's really not a whole lot you guys could do about it. I'm not painting Texas out to be the victim here. Chris Del Conte did what he did, and his hires have mostly been good. And this was something he did to bring his old friend back to Texas A&M. But all Schlossnagle had to do is just say, no comment. But no, you have to question the morality of the reporter when you knew what you were doing. Do you really think he just all of a sudden woke up today saying, I'm going to Texas? No, he knew what the hell he was doing the entire time. sleazeball stuff to go to the rival. Now, I have always felt this way. If you're a player watching this, okay, so just to make sure we're all on the same page here. Texas A&M baseball coach calls reporter out, asking about the Texas job. Less than 24 hours, he takes the Texas job. Worse than Saban, worse than Roy Williams with Kansas and North Carolina, way worse than that. Obviously, that's on a way bigger scale because baseball, basketball, not even close, football, not even close. I want this to be clear. And Jared, thank you for the super chat. He wants to get back into football. I will happily do it. One thing that drives me insane about the portal, it drives me insane. All right? Drives me insane. I don't care if you transfer. I really do not care if you transfer. But the good thing about hitting the transfer portal or taking a new job is there are millions of those you can go to. If you're a kid and you're good, there are millions of schools you can go to. The one thing you should not do, out of respect to the team that initially took you in, the team that initially gave you NIL, the team that initially played you, the team that initially put you on the map, don't go to the school's rival. Whatever you do, don't transfer to a school's rival. All right? If you're transferring from South Carolina to LSU, fine by me. But don't go from South Carolina to Clemson. Don't be like Elias Ricks. Go from LSU to Alabama. You don't do it. That is one thing you don't do. You do not transfer. I'm okay. High school kid flipping from one rival to another. I'm fine with that because you never actually wore the jersey. You were never actually part of the school. But you should never. But take this. I want you to take this to your bed frame tonight. I didn't say that smoothly at all. But you should never be allowed to transfer to your rival. When Trevor Etienne transferred from Florida to Georgia, you should not wish him well. You should not wish him well. No. It's the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. That is a tough game you got to win every year in Jacksonville. Hell no. Hell no. And I will save this and keep this to myself. But there was a time when, I'll save this story for a different day. But it pissed me off. One of my favorite college athletes ever did one of these things. And no, you don't wish, like, I obviously want you to have good health and you be personally happy and all that stuff. But outside of all of that, I don't give a damn. You transfer from LSU to Cincinnati, no problem. No problem. I have no problem with that. But let rivalries have meaning. Schlossnagle going from TCU to Texas A&M to Texas? I mean, what are you doing, bro? Do any of this, does any of this mean anything to anyone anymore? Jackson Howard went from LSU to Wisconsin. Best of luck. Go Badger. Badger on. Madison for life. Do that. Guess what? I'm fine if an LSU kid transfers to Auburn. Don't play him every year anymore. They're not really our rivals anymore. Have fun. Best of luck. But you don't go to Alabama if you go to LSU. Don't go to Arkansas if you go to LSU. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Corey Connor actually turned out to be pretty good. Coy Moore is actually back in the portal. So Jared wants us to get back into this, but this will be get back into football. This will be my final thing on the subject. This will be my final thing. All right, y'all. If the Texas A&M Aggie fans or the players actually had a backbone, like actually had like a any type of decency, you know what they would do? They would not follow their coach. They would not follow your coach. And baseball is unique in that there's really, like, I can understand somewhat following your coach in football because that coach might run a system that you fit in. There's no systems in baseball. There's none. It's practically the same. Now, am I oversimplifying that? Probably. We actually have a real baseball expert joining us here in just a second. But still, it's annoying to me when I see this. Coach goes to arch rival. Player goes to arch rival. I don't like it. I don't like it. Now, first $20 super chat. I'm giving out a number 18 autograph tonight. Silver Prism Foster Moreau LSU rookie card right here. One of my favorite cards, definitely. You get a double up here of Foster Moreau from Louisiana, 3-star recruit, and on top of that, he's with the New Orleans Saints. So coming up next, we'll talk to the man who helped, and I really do mean it. He helped Will Campbell get his career started. Well, the autograph side of Will Campbell's career. One of my favorite guests, he's joining the 4-time PHL Guest Club. That's an illustrious club. And we're going to be chatting everything sports cards, which is crazy because
I think joy and happiness and doing things you like is important.
My favorite thing is sports cards. When I'm not on YouTube, I am building my collection. And when I started, I wish there was a sports card strategy show.
He wasn't necessarily going to be a first-round pick before all this Heisman buzz. Now they're talking about him being a top 5 pick.
Paul Hickey and the team at nooffseason.com personally helped build my Jaden Daniels collection, and they're looking to do the same for you. Just check them out on social media or nooffseason.com. All right, it's a good time to bring back Ty Christiana. The big show is going down this weekend, Ty. You and I have teamed up, and every single one of these that we have done together has been an absolute massive show. But the big difference is that we are in a new location.
We are. We're in a new location now. So the convention center that we're usually in Bossier here recently is packed, right? It's always booked. It's been slap full. We haven't been able to really do a whole lot in it. So for one show and one show only for now, we're going to move to Broadmoor Methodist Church. And we're going to bring 85 vendors, and we're going to see what happens, right? So it's never a bad time when we're doing cards. It's never a bad time when we're talking about memorabilia. It's always a good time. And we're bringing Hayden Travinsky in for his last signing before the draft. So it's going to be super exciting.
Yeah, so I will be set up at a table probably close to Ty. And you want to meet Hayden Travinsky, future MLBer? Come by, come hang out. And look, I'll be giving away a lot of my collection, obviously selling, trading. I'm building my game-worn patch uniform collection, so I'm really excited about that. So, Ty, a lot of PHLers have come in the past, but if someone is watching this for the first time, it's a free show. So why should people come?
Man, it's a fun, family-friendly experience, right? So it's completely free. You could walk around, you could see all kinds of things that you may or may not like. So we have anything from Joe Burrow autographs to Joe Burrow sports cards to Magic, Pokemon, freeze-dried candy. Somebody's bringing freeze-dried candy.
Okay.
So we're all over the place, but it's really a family-friendly event. And it's just a good time, right? So, I mean, the most expensive thing that you buy going in there if you want it is a Hayden Travinsky autograph, and that's $20, right? So we just try to make everything affordable. We try to bring local athletes in. We try to expose them to the younger players and just create an event that, fosters just a good time and just family friendly, really.
Yeah. Before we get back more into the show, you have worked with so many legendary LSU athletes, and they in turn have come on PHL, and it's been a fun relationship. What has it been like? You gave Will Campbell one of his first opportunities to sign.
Yeah. So this right here is actually a Will Campbell 11x14.
Look at that.
And it's signed by Will Campbell, and I'll be giving it away to a viewer. So PHL giveaway, right? So first person that mentions this podcast, our show that we're on right now, first person that mentions it, come see me and we'll give it to you. Go with it.
And it's in purple pin. You get the rare purple pin auto. Right?
Yeah. So like I said, I spent a lot of time with Will Campbell. His family, just really, really, really great people. He's a really great human being. And like I said, I've been blessed, very blessed to experience a lot of the 318, right? So,
yeah.
And we'll get into it more so when we get to the show. But, I've been extremely blessed, and I've been extremely blessed to bring it to the local people, right? Because these people have been so caring, so just humble and coming forward and just doing it just for either for charity or just for very, very, very low cost.
Yeah, Roy's kids. That's obviously awesome. It's what else is very interesting is you also get to see what like the autograph business looks like. So, for those that don't know, I'm into a lot of different things. I'm just like football cards, but there's soccer cards, there's basketball cards, there's baseball cards, but also on top of that, you never know who might show up. Devin
Right.
White might be in town. He might walk in. Patrick Queen was insane. He probably signed at least 1,000 items with Jeray Jenkins and Michaela Williams. That was just absurd.
Right. So yeah, that was that was actually one of my favorite PHL moments. Actually, I think we've talked about it multiple times, right? So it's what it is. It's just the athletes' willingness to open up, right? Just
Right.
be there for the fans, be there for us, and explain what the inside, behind the curtain looks like, right? And in their brain and what they're thinking, and just the analytics and everything about it is just it really does give you a chance to get inside the brain of some of the most talented athletes in the world. Yeah. And Devin White will be in town that day.
Oh.
Yeah, so
he might pop in. You never know. You never know who drops into these to these card shows. Once again, Ty Christiana joining us. It's this Saturday. It's pretty much all day, but I highly recommend you get in early. Normally, what sports card people would tell you, want to get to a show as early as you can because you want the first crack at everything. But like it's also interesting because you could also bring your collection and you could sell it to a dealer. So if you have
absolutely,
if you have some cards around and you want me to look at it, look, I might buy it. Now you might not get $1 gazillion for it, but that could be something else you could do because dealers are always looking to buy.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. No, that's I think that's somewhat some dealers set up, right? So that the beauty of going to a local show is that you have the opportunity to buy things that you don't usually see, right? Because you go to Dallas, you go to the National, you got 700,000 dealers, and some of these walk-ups don't happen. But when you go to a local show, there's 80 tables, and people are like, hey, would you like to look at this? And the answer is always yes. And because you never know what you're going to see, right? We had an individual come in with a shoebox last show and had nothing but 1952 to 1958 Mickey Mantles, Jackie Robinson's, Sandy Koufax, right? So had enough cards to pay for a house, but had no idea about it.
That's insane.
Right. So
you never know what walks through that door. Let's go to you're a football expert. Why does no one ever mention Savion Smith like Elias Ricks when we talk about him going to Alabama? That's a good point. And go on. Go on, Tom.
So I think Ricks was a completely different player, right? Completely. When Ricks and Stingley were next to each other, we had a completely different defense, right? So, and arguably, and I know this isn't going to be a fan favorite thing for me to say, is that when Ricks played on the opposite side of Stingley, Ricks looked better than Stingley some of the time, right?
Yeah,
a lot of the time, right? The UCLA game is one of the ones I look back on, and I'm like, if Eli Ricks played like that every game, we would be talking Eli Ricks like we do talk about Stingley, even though Stingley was a generational talent, a generational prospect, a generational recruit. He's spoken about like the Fournettes of the world, where he was the recruit that we all wanted. But it hurt watching Eli Ricks go and ruin his career in Alabama and then resurrect it with the Eagles. So.
Look who's here, man. The guy that filmed our last show.
There he is. Mr. Hamilton, how are you?
Yeah, he brought a lot of people. He made the trip. Believe it or not, it was actually someone from my sports card channel, from the nooffseason.com network. The little thing you just saw actually drove, and he got to the show later, and he bought my favorite card in my entire collection. Because he really, really, really wanted it, and he offered me a decent amount for it. And I was like, okay, I'll give it to you, and I regret it. Like I can't, because the thing is like you'll see something there, you might not ever see it again, and if you are looking for a birthday gift, an early Christmas gift, this is a place to go, because a lot of these dealers are willing to work with you if it's an in-person deal, especially if you have cash. So I highly recommend you come looking for, I know Father's Day is past, but looking for that birthday gift or that Christmas item. It could be there.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's tons of stuff, right? And it's right before football season. So
right.
I think if you're looking into getting something for football, getting something football related, I think this is probably your last crack at getting it at a decent price before people start either holding it for the national or hold it for the September Dallas show, because at the end of the day, things go up like stocks, right? So as football season creeps up and as the preseason plays out, things go up and things get more expensive.
Yeah, cards have hype cycles, as you know. You're mostly actually a baseball collector, but preseason is when things get really hot. So this would be probably your last chance to get things at lower prices. So I'll ask you a few LSU football related questions, since you do follow the team closely. Your thoughts overall on this offense going in to next year? Do you believe your guy Will Campbell will lead a little bit more of a run-based attack next year?
Yeah, so I really like our offense. I know that's maybe not a thing that's popular, right? So I think we have the best offensive line in the SEC. I don't think it's close. I think we have a top 3 quarterback in the SEC. I know Nuss is kind of unproven. He played the ball game and looks relatively good in it, I thought. But I think the receiving core is maybe underrated, if that's fair to say. I think Kyron Lacy is a number one. I don't know that he's a number one like Neighbors number one, but I don't think he's bad. And I think when he transferred to Lafayette, he had a lot of drops, and I think that was kind of what bit him. And then as we've gotten closer and as we've gotten better, I think he's gotten better. And then you have CJ Daniels, and I think that no one's talking about him, and that's weird to me, right? So he was a number 1 plus target at Liberty.
Yeah.
And he didn't really show up in the spring game, but I think that he's it, right? Like, I think that Kyron Lacy, I think that, Daniels, I think they all can be very, 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 very good. So we'll see. And then I think Mason Taylor, right? So I think Mason Taylor makes a jump. He's put on weight. Maybe he can block better, because a lot of times he was getting taken out. And when he got taken out for 12 personnel and things like that, they knew what was coming because he wasn't on the field. So I think with him on the field, more experience, maybe some more weight. I saw some pictures of him working out. He looks a little thicker than he used to. So I think that's possible.
Your first thoughts on the first year of the Blake Baker era?
It can't be worse. So I went to the Florida State game in Orlando last year, and I was confused. Right, so when things come out and the defense comes out and you see Perkins playing like middle linebacker, and then just getting stuck in the middle of the game and just not being effective at all. And then come halftime and not making any adjustments. It was startling, right? And then, we had Penn, who may be the slowest person to ever play linebacker in the history of LSU. It was just crazy to me, right? So, and like I said, I'm not trying to knock anybody. I'm not trying to bash our defense last year, but it just wasn't good. Like schematically, it wasn't good. Our defensive line. I rewatched the Florida State game today actually while I was working from home, and we got ate up. Like, and it was bad. Like we thought it was bad watching it live, and then you watch it in like real time on, like, I say real time, but on a TV where you can see things and replays, and we're missing blocks, and we just played sloppy. And yeah, it's the first game of the year, and stuff, but we can't play like that, right? I think USC this year is a perfect entryway, right? And I think there's a reason why there's rumors that USC wanted to get out of that, because we're far more together now than we were last year defensively. And I think offensively, Nuss has been in the system for 3 years. So when you saw Jaden in year one of his time, that was his first year in the system. Year two, he made a leap, right? He won the Heisman, obviously. He was pretty darn good. But Nuss has been there the entire time. He knows the offense. There's no question in my mind that he knows the offense. There's no question in my mind the offensive line knows the offense. There's no question in my mind that Kyron Lacey knows where he needs to be.
Yeah.
They just need to execute.
I wanted so this was actually a big deal a few years ago because we did the Michaela Williams thing, and it was around like her Bowman release. So the good thing, Pegasus, about NIL is all kids can sign now. Obviously, it depends state by state, but basically all kids can sign and get money for it in high school. Believe it or not, Pegasus, someone tried to sell me a Juju Lewis card, the 2026 QB 5-star. And then I see Leaf, putting out autos of Julian Lewis. It's a high school junior, and he's getting like a 100,000 print run. So yeah, I mean, they can sign now. Ty, it's crazy.
Right. So Cooper Flagg, that's a funny thing, right? So Cooper Flagg, if I'm not wrong, he's the kid from Maine who was going to Duke. Yeah.
So I should have said who that was. Yeah. He is a 5-star, can't miss basketball prospect.
Right.
He'll be the number one pick in the next draft.
Right. So we just talked about doing a signing with him. He actually is represented by some people we do work with. Again, that number is astronomical. So we're trying to figure out if that makes sense. But yes, they have agents, kind of, sort of. They're not legally allowed to have agents, but they're allowed to have representation. So, yes, Cooper Flagg has representation. He's with CAA, which also happens to have Shohei Ohtani, if we're talking about, like, representation. So yeah, no, they can absolutely do that. And to get back to what you said, right, so Peyton Houston, who's actually from Shreveport, is an Evangel kid, and he's a sophomore, has never played a high school football game in his life, has a Leaf deal. He just signed a Leaf deal, has Leaf cards. He's never played a snap in his life in college football, high school football. He has like 13 offers to all these Division I schools. A&M, TCU, Arkansas, Ole Miss. Big schools. I think Georgia may be in there. There's heavy. He's recruited everywhere. He's paraded around the camps this year, and really he's also like an Elite 11 watch list. And like I said, it's just absolutely nuts, the exposure that 14-year-old kids get now that were never around 10 years ago.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if you see Gary Nussmeier's younger brother having some cards out. Our friend Wade, I'm actually a customer of Wade's jersey framing business. I got my Kenneth Dixon,
There you go.
a game-worn. Oh, it's not mine. It was actually my dad's game-worn
Okay.
uniform. The legendary Louisiana Tech running back. So Wade actually softball coach, but he's well known for jersey framing. So if you want your if you have an autographed jersey and you want it to be framed, Wade does it at the shows, and he takes care of all of it. You get it for a good price as well. He's thrown in a Will autographed uni for a Power Hour LSU viewer. They come to the show on Saturday. I have a ton of Will Campbell autographs. I don't have the Will Campbell uni. So that he raised the stakes on it, man.
You better roll up there and say you heard it, huh?
Yeah, that's all you got to do, man. And it's a free show. We have had a lot of viewers show up, so I hope we see the same thing on Saturday. Ty, before we let you go, we know you have a lot of stuff to do to get ready for the show. What is one thing, and we've pretty much covered everything. It's free to attend. You just show up. You just part. It's it. There's no frills. There's nothing. You don't have to give us your email or anything like that. But I would highly recommend, especially if kids 8 or 9 and up, take them to the show and watch your eyes light up, because there's nothing like a kid holding or opening a pack of cards or just going through a collection and just buying something.
Right, absolutely. So it's just an opportunity to do something that's safe, and really just give another option, right? So, when I started collecting cards when I was, I don't even remember, like 9, I guess. It was like maybe he's older than that, because or younger than that, because like Michael Vick and Drew Brees and all those were rookies back in like 2000 or 2001, whatever it was. But it's incredible what that does for you, right? Because it's like an itch, right? It's almost like an addiction, but I won't call it an addiction. It's just, you got to have it. You got to have more. You got to see more. And then every time I had a card, I had to relate it to a game, right? So I spent Saturday and Sunday every weekend in the fall watching games and be like, I need to get that card because that guy is unreal. But yeah, no, I think what Wade and I have going on here in Bossier, Shreveport area is phenomenal. And it gives everybody an opportunity just to interact with different people, different walks of life that are all interested in the same thing. And plus you get to see a College World Series champion and MLB draft prospect right before he gets drafted. So, and we're giving away, and we're going to raffle off some cleats, some game used cleats. So Hayden Travinsky, I met with him today, and he gave us their Hirachis, they're LSU Hirachis. They're branded Hirachis. They're going to be $5 a ticket. All that money is going to Roy's kids, and then he gave us some Marucci gloves, some batting gloves. So we're gonna raffle those off as well. But just an incredible opportunity to come out and really enjoy a good time in the AC.
Yeah, that's true. That's the key thing. Air condition. Look at this, Wade. I got you a Charlie Ward jersey.
So if you want to show him that flyer again, his number is on the flyer.
Well, yeah. So yeah, you could. Yeah, actually, his number is right there. So just you could shoot him a text right now, or you could shoot me a message, and I can help you out with that as well. Fatal Jedi. See, that's the kind of stuff I do. Ironically, you were talking about the Florida State game out of nowhere. Florida State fans, everyone always told me how toxic they were. They have been great to me. That they still watch me a lot. I love Florida State fans. Like, and they kicked our ass twice. Well, the second time, but
right.
But yeah, Charlie Ward. See, that's my favorite thing about going to these shows or just collecting. I would have never thought that someone said, I need to get my Charlie Ward. What's been the most obscure thing you've seen at this show?
Oh, every time I go, I'm just like, where did you get that? Or where did that come from? I don't. That's tough.
It's tough. I saw. There's actually a guy who always has these random like soccer cards. He had like the 8 game worn patches from like World Cup legends. And the thing is, like, you'll see a lot of these on eBay. There's more of these than you think, but he had all the patches are like 2-color thick patches. Some of like grass stain. It was like Pele, Maradona, Ronaldo, Messi. I was like, holy shnik. You wanted too much for it. But you'll
the grail.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a soccer fan, that's a card that you want right there. But is there anything that or you might just be overwhelmed by this question? I'm sorry for doing this to you.
No. So like, it's weird though, because like you said that, like, you know, overwhelmed. Like the weirdest thing I've ever seen in a show was that shoebox of 52 Manals that people were like, yeah, it's been up in my grandfather's attic for, you know, God knows how long. And is this worth anything? I said, yeah, like you could pay off your house and retire tomorrow if they grade okay. You know, and that took them aback. And then of course you have people trying to buy them from them for, for not the right price. But yeah, I think that's the craziest thing I've seen at our local show is just that, right? Or you know, stories of like my cousins Devin White, or you know, my cousins L'Jarius Sneed, or you know, because a lot of people are related, right? So 318 is not a big area per se, and there's so many athletes in town, and we're just fortunate enough to be a small part of that.
Yeah. All right. So I'll put the flyer up one final time. It's this Saturday, 10 a.m. till 4. I highly recommend you're there at 10. The earlier, the better. And Hayden will be there probably around 11, you would say?
So I think it's 12 to 1. I think
Okay.
it's on the other flyer that we had. But so from 12 to 1, $20. We'll have some raffles. We'll probably do raffles right before he leaves. So if you want the cleats signed or the gloves signed, he'll do that for you. He'll take pictures. Like I said, we don't invite athletes unless they're willing to interact with fans. You know, just part of the deal. So I think that, you know, people will be happy to see him and he'll be happy to see people. Couple things I want to go before I go. I got to ask you some questions.
Let's go.
Hey, so Gabriel Relaford, I love it. I think he makes the field his freshman year, and I think he makes an impact. If he does anything close to what he did during the spring game, I know it wasn't against the starters. I think he makes an immediate impact. I think Nico Ambaliva from Tennessee. I think he either upsets Alabama or Georgia.
Oh,
I think they're good, and I think Arch Manning plays and takes over before week 6 in Texas.
Whoa, bro! You went. Okay, you started off with Gabe. First off, here's what I say about Gabe. His parents are silent viewers of the channel, so if you are watching, Gabe folks, they're awesome. They're very awesome to deal with. I am with you on Gabe Relaford. The second one, Nico. He beats either Alabama or who?
Or Georgia. Alabama and Georgia are on their schedule the last like 5 weeks this season. If I think that he pulls off one of them.
I'm a huge Nico guy, so I'll roll with you on that.
And our boy Lance Hurd's there.
That's true. Lance, friend of the show. A lot of people have gotten. I will tell you this. A lot of people have gotten on me about being really kind to Lance going to Tennessee. Two things about it. Is it partially because I interviewed him? Yes, but Lance is actually one of the athletes that I interviewed that I interact with the least. He's a very quiet guy. He goes about his business. We don't play Tennessee this year. And who's to say he doesn't go there for a year and then just comes back? Because it was partially a playing time deal. He wasn't going to get to play tackle this year. So I don't really understand why so many people trashed him. I understand. But he didn't go to Alabama. We do not play him this year. So I'll always defend Lance to a certain degree. Now this last one. Arch Manning takes over for Quinn Ewers.
They have a lot riding on this year, right? Their recruiting class completely rides on this year. Their whole future rides on this year. So if they're going to get to carry more, if they're going to continue to keep James Simon, if they're going to do all this, they need to put up 10 wins. And if Ewers loses to Michigan or gets killed by Michigan in week 2, which is completely possible, right? Because Michigan are dogs and their defense is phenomenal, has always been. And if he's as fragile as he's always been, I don't see how he survives the first 5 weeks of the season. And I think, with everything going on, right, everybody transferred underneath him with the exception of Arch. So Arch takes over week 5, and Sarkisian sees what he has going forward, and he could use that as an excuse to not get fired if they don't win 10 games.
I am not a Quinn Ewers guy. I actually, he was not in my top 3 QBs. I have Garrett Nussmeier number 3, and then Dart 2, and then Beck number 1.
That's fair.
I think Quinn would do well enough to where he keeps a job the rest of the year, but Arch that would be such a bold move. Is it more you believing in Arch or you fading Quinn Ewers?
So I think that based on that this is based on a spring game, based on what I've been hearing from inside the program, Arch isn't that far off from Ewers, right? And Ewers has even made some public statements that the best thing Arch could do is come back and be under him, right? So, obviously Ewers thinks very highly of himself. And he should, right? He started for 2 years. He's been relatively good when he's playing. I could even say not relatively good. He's been really good, right? He beat Alabama and was throwing phenomenal in that game. I just think that a lot is riding on this year, right? They're recruiting nonstop. They're trying to pull off all these recruits. Their recruiting is like there's Lamborghinis parked outside. They have more money in their we'll call it their TAF than maybe anybody else in the country besides A&M, and we know how well that works out for them. It's incredible, right? So I think that if Ewers gets hurt, or 2, if they lose the Michigan game and Ewers gets hurt, they ride with Arch. If Arch puts them on a win streak, even beats Oklahoma, which they should, because Arnold's not that good.
Whoa! You're not a Jackson Arnold guy?
Not at all. Did you watch the bowl game last year?
Yeah, I did. I did a film study. Lots of picks and mistakes, but I didn't think that I honestly didn't think he played bad. Now I took some heat for that, but I don't think he's as good as people has his 5-star rating per se. But
all right.
I think he's got some juice.
Right. Wade is going to be super mad at me for talking bad on Oklahoma's quarterback, but that's okay. I think like Oklahoma's like the perennial team that's like number 1 rated until like week 2, and then they get destroyed by whoever they play. And it happens every year since I don't even know who was there at the time. DeJuan Miller, I don't know. I played DeJuan Miller in high school. That's the only reason I know he was there. But so since 2008, they've been ranked number 1 how many times? Like, I don't know, 5, 6 preseason.
Yeah.
And they've finished outside the top 10 probably every season of those seasons. So I just don't have any faith in them. I think that they're not a great addition to the SEC from a football standpoint, but from every other standpoint, they're pretty good. I don't know. I'm just excited to see what Texas does, and I know I'm not a Texas homer, but I think that they have Sarkisian's offense is going to be good, right? That's one thing that we know every time. Their offense is going to be good. Their defense, who knows?
And
we don't play them, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, we do play Oklahoma. That's a new rivalry.
I can't wait. Cannot wait.
Well, Justin Jefferson's not walking through that door, so someone else is going to have to step up and take it to him. So there you go. We will see Ty Christiana once again this Saturday is when it's all going down. Ty, you have joined the illustrious 4-time guest club. There you go. You're up there with some of the GOATs. And so the Justin Jefferson, there you go. Perfect time. Yeah, that was meant to be. We'll see you this Saturday, Ty. We're looking forward to it, man. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you, brother. We'll see you Saturday. Y'all come out and we'll have a good time.
There you go. Don't forget, huge giveaways. Not you guys know I give out a lot of my stuff at these shows. Obviously, I'm doing doing some of my own deals at these shows, but they took it to another level. Will Campbell autographed jersey to the first PHLer that is at the show this Saturday. So, yeah, that's pretty big. That's definitely the biggest thing that they've given out. With me, and we're also giving out a bunch of Will Campbell autographs. I've actually given out a good bit of my Will Campbell autograph collection. Ty has donated quite a few things, and we've given out a ton of 8x11s of Will Campbell. So yeah, that's enough for you to join us on Saturday. So Wade says he loves OU, but he's no doubt rooting for LSU in November. So for those that don't know, LSU and Oklahoma now play the final week of the year. Now, sometimes in life, you've got to admit when you're wrong. I'm not going to go there and say that I was wrong for what I did on Sunday night, which is really showed disappointment that Jabari Antoine, the 4-star top 100 corner, decommitted. And now he's back on the market. Because there was a crystal ball for Antoine to go back and commit to LSU. You guys know that I am as much of a let's just wait until they sign on the dotted line kind of guy. I don't follow the day-to-day recruiting stuff because it drives me insane. But LSU has no other defensive backs committed, and our blue chip ratio at DB is not where it needs to be. Our talent at DB is not where it needs to be. I like some of the guys that are in that room, in particular PJ Woodland and so on and so on. So the cupboard being bare at defensive back kind of ties in with what we started the show about CJ Wiley not picking LSU. It's not the end of the world. It really isn't. It really isn't. Okay? What I would tell you, okay, is if Antoine does recommit back to LSU, that would excite me because I think the guy can play. It still doesn't change the fact that we absolutely don't need to get this guy, but you can't consistently keep losing your top 100 DBs from your state. Now, the other side of this is normally, unless you are can't miss 5-star good, a lot of these decommitments have not ended up hurting LSU in the long run. All right. A lot of these guys at LSU have barely missed out on. It did not hurt them in the long run. Okay. So I am fine. I am perfectly, and I really do mean it, perfectly fine. Okay. With us not landing Antoine, but us still putting together a good defensive back class. So I'm going to give Corey and the defensive staff some grace on that. It's still very early in the staff, especially if we can get Antoine back in the class. The point still remains the same, though. And the thing is, when you get into the slippery slope, okay, and I really, really, really want this to sound logical, because it might not. If you say, well, kids nowadays, there's nothing Corey can do. This one kid in particular, and I've heard this. I don't know if this is the case with Antoine, but kids just want NIL. That's it. It's all that matters. It's all that matters when it comes to landing players is you just want NIL. Well, if that's the case, then why are we hiring position coaches whose main, claim to fame is recruiting? If you're saying that there's nothing that our coaching staff can do, then make sure that coach has a long track record of developing and putting great guys into the league. And Corey has that, but more so in yesteryear than in recent years. So I always go back to my initial point, especially since the NIL era has begun. If your main claim as a coach is you are a good recruiter, if that is the first thing that comes out of any pundit's mouth about a coach, I'm skeptical. I'm very skeptical. All right. Now, are there great recruiters, guys that are all-time great transcendent recruiters? Yes. And one of those guys is Frank Wilson. Frank Wilson is still the recruiting coordinator at LSU. I think the LSU brand has done a lot of the heavy lifting for a lot of the recruits that we've landed over the past decade or so. But Frank has landed so many over such a long period of time that he himself does really move the needle in recruiting. So maybe he's able to work some magic and really help us get our defensive recruiting back to where it needs to be. And I'm perfectly fine with letting Frank do his magic. Perfectly fine. But, outside of that, I think the coaches that separate are the ones that can really freaking develop. That's why I am really high on Bo Davis. Bo Davis had the 2 highest rated defensive tackles in this last draft. Byron Murphy, the highest rated 3 technique defensive tackle, and the highest rated shade 0 nose was T'Vondre Sweat. These guys were not can't miss 5-star recruits. One was a pretty decently rated 4-star, and the other was a 3-star. Those guys were dudes. Okay. Those are the kind of coaches that you want, the developers. Blake Baker, master developer of talent. You cannot argue against that, to the contrary. Kevin Peoples has done really good stuff with coaching defensive ends. So we have got to let these guys do some work. So I want this to be known. If I'm critical of anything regarding LSU, understand, I want to be wrong. But also understand that if you ever hear me feel critical about it, understand I think about every last little thing I say, especially if it comes off a little negative before I go live. But Antoine is definitely one of these types of recruits that you really need to be a part of your class. You really, really, really do. And look, I think we're about to have some positive regression in recruiting because, as I've shared, since 2019 LSU, our blue chip ratio recruits, which basically means 4-star or better recruits on the defensive side of the football, has had a really high bust rate. A lot of that could just be a bad luck of the draw, with those guys just not working out. But it's been so bad that you've got to wonder if it is just scheme and us not having the right developers in our room. I cannot say this enough. Blake Baker is going to be great at LSU. He is. And I'm not just saying that just to sell hope for the future of this program. He's damn good at what he does. He's going to squeeze a lot more out of this defense that we might not know is possible. With that said, we need all these guys to live up to the billing and get some of these 3 stars to give us 4 and 5-star level production. Okay. Let's go to Brian. I love this. I believe Dominic McKinley and Gabriel Relaford will be your Will Campbell and Emory Jones defensively. Yeah. Relaford is so interesting to me. Obviously, Ty introduced me to Gabriel Relaford, and I've gotten to know his parents a little bit. And, man, I'm really pumped up. And you can go back and watch our interview with him. The dude is a very bright personality. He has a huge personality. And his athleticism is insane. The guy ran track and field as a 260-pound defensive end, which is insane. The dude has a motor. I like Rutherford a lot. Dominic McKinley definitely has the athleticism. I still feel year 2 is going to be his big breakout. You really need him to be a year 1 guy, though. A guy that for sure is like just a stud. Like Mason Smith. Mason Smith in his first game versus UCLA was making big plays. So we hope we get that with a cleaner run of health. But yeah, he's going to get plenty of opportunities to play right away. Yeah, Pegasus, it's insane. It's insane. Like it is the opposite. Trust me, Corey Raymond's heyday at LSU was insane. Like Dante Jackson, Jamal Adams. I mean, that run, Jalen Mills was absurd. It really, really, really was absurd. So yeah, I want that heyday to come back. I really do. All the way up to Derek Stingley. I want it to come back. But it's honestly not hating. It's just, discussions. I really hope this works out. I really, really, really do. Now, this is going to sound weird. I drink just fruit punch during the show. I swallowed that weirdly. Now I'm sounding like the Haktua girl. But no, it went down the throat. Pause. Strangely. But either way, in the next 10 to 15 minutes, I'll answer as many questions as we possibly can. If you do super chat, we'll keep the party moving. I don't mind going live because I had to take a nap in the middle of the day. I could not go to sleep last night. I drank a Red Bull way too late last night. I finished one at around like 5:30. And I'm working for you NFL fans, Power Hour NFL. I am working on a Drew Brees video that I think you guys would love regarding his relationship with Tom Brady. It's very interesting. Don't spit on that thing. We have Chance in here now. And he's here, y'all. He's here. The master. Blaster is here. What's up, team? Good to see you, Tony. If you're watching for the first time tonight, you're probably like, what the is this guy? Is this guy going crazy? Is this guy pulling a Schlossnagel? I swear, if I got to say this guy's name one more time, I'm going to go crazy. Tony, thank you for your super chat. Really appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. Schlossnagel. And by the way, the Master Blaster. I'm going to let you choose. I'm going to send you one of these two autographs. You can either have Foster Moreau or you can have Darrell Williams. You just let me know which one you want. I'm going to send you one of those because you provide me and give me so much joy. If you prefer Kayshawn, I got a Kayshawn card right here as well. Everybody, welcome Tony to the channel. What's up, Don? Dude, it is insane how many people in Little Rock watch this channel. I have done so you want Foster Moreau Master? Okay, I got you, brother. This card is so sweet, man. I don't know if I want to send this to you now. Like, this card is just so sweet. Foster Moreau is a beast, bro. Little Rock is very near and dear to my heart. I go to Little Rock quite a bit. I used to go twice a week to do stand-up. Shout out Little Rock, Arkansas. My favorite, I'm serious. My favorite restaurant in the South is in Little Rock. It's Kamuri's Sushi. I freaking love it. So, Tony, you get to pick the next question. Go right on ahead. Chance wants us to stop everything that we're doing to talk Allison Habits, the new Lady Cajun softball coach. If I stopped what I was doing to ever talk Lady Cajun softball, please check and call my wife to see if I'm okay. It's almost like talking hockey. Who in the hell would use their time to talk about hockey? But last time was great. I was back and forth between the World Series and hockey. And look, hockey games are like Mardi Gras, man. Everybody's just flashing their cleavage. Pretty crazy trade, though, in the NBA. Mikal Bridges. So the Knicks are fielding a team of Villanova Wildcats. There you go. I'm excited. Mikal Bridges is going to the Knicks. God, that's a great trade for him, man. You don't even have to move your stuff. Going from Brooklyn to New York. Now, I do want to chat a little bit more about the EA Sports Tiger Stadium thing, where we're circling back around to this. And look, top 10 places to play. We'll take a look at the poll question. 55% of you are happy to see Texas A&M have their hearts ripped out by their coach on the YouTube poll question. Cole wants to talk Oppenheimer. Man, I can't ever watch Oppenheimer again. Like, the movie's so good. I when I was driving home, I almost got in 2 car accidents. I swear, my mind was fried. But to go back around to the thing that got everybody pissed off today, before the Schlossnagel news, Florida to me is the loudest I've ever been in a stadium, outside of Tiger Stadium. But I'm removing my LSU bias. I'm fine with LSU just being in the top 5, even though every national media member says LSU is number 1. Andy Staples, Brandon Walker, a lot of the Barstool guys, Scott Van Pelt, Ryan Russillo, so on and so on and so on. Florida was so loud, so raucous, so visceral. But honestly, Auburn, I've been Auburn for 3 games, is so electric. Auburn is so underrated, man. I'm glad I got to go before our our yearly game got eradicated with them. But Auburn is so loud. Their fans, the sound system is so, the acoustics in that stadium. I have no clue how they did it, but it's insane. Like, it sounds so good in there. So, shout out to Auburn. Those are probably my two favorite SEC stadiums. I've been to Kyle Field. Yeah. I don't think Kyle Field should be number one. I saw a stat. Texas A&M is 24-20 in Kyle Field. Now, what I would also say, okay, I want to show you the home and road, or the home splits against the spread. Colin Wilson, a beast. Texas A&M, 31-34-1 against the number. Alabama, 37-30-1 against the number. LSU, this is just insane. 38-24-3 against the spread at home since 2014. Y'all, that is an absurd split. Happy Valley has a pretty big split. Georgia, I kind of get it. I mean, their point spreads are so large. So, they have so many of these 30, 40-point games. Oklahoma, 35-26 against the number. But this shows you that LSU objectively has the biggest difference between home and road. Now, something else that I would include is LSU has an obscene amount of night games, and that continues this year with only one 11 a.m. game. Let's go to Cole. He says, I'm here because of Oppenheimer. My dad was on a battleship 30 miles off the motherland waiting orders to storm the cliffs of Japan when they saw the light. That's wild. That's crazy. It feels like that era was just so long ago, but it honestly wasn't. I mean, that's not even like a century-year old. But Christopher Nolan, once again, confirmed the GOAT. To go to Pegasus, he says, I've been watching summer scouting on PFF draft, not to mention LSU for quarterback, wide receiver, or tie. Not really. I mean, does LSU have an elite quarterback draft prospect for next year? Maybe with Garrett Nussmeier, we'll see. Wide receiver, Kyron, and then tight end Mason. So, yeah, none of those guys are like can't miss elite draft prospects the same way that Malik Neighbors was going into last year. So, I don't think that those would have been the first guys that they would have picked. But, yeah, I mean, the bottom line is the stat that keeps me up, and I think about this stat a lot, is LSU has not had a first-round offensive lineman since 1998 when it comes to the NFL draft. Now, it's not me saying that there's not been great LSU NFL offensive linemen. There have been a lot. Trey Turner far outplayed expectation, and then Lyle Collins had the weird thing that happened to him around draft time. But that ends next year. Like, it would be a really big shock if Will Campbell and Emory Jones aren't first-round picks, or it would be pretty astronomical that not at least one of them would be number one picks. Okay. I think that there is a really good shot of one of them being the number one overall pick because this is not a good quarterback draft class. Okay. Now, I was going to say this for a little bit later, and I kind of wanted to talk about it on Wednesday, but Hal did bring this up in the Discord, and Chance brings it up now. Trades Green is on the LSU basketball roster per sources. He'll wear number 8. First thing, you guys know I'm a jersey number guy. It is interesting since college basketball changed the jersey number rules that every player wants a single-digit number. Every single one. Okay. But Trades Green. Let's go to Carson. Big superhero from Carson. Let's be the first school to get a list of all our players' cash apps. That way, us fans can randomly send money. Imagine a player's cash app after he scored or made a big play. That would draw all kinds of recruits. Now, very interesting outside the box thought process. Let me first say this, Carson. I'm actually in bigger favor of this in other sports than I am in football, because all football players are about to get, what, $200K a year or something along those lines. I think in other sports that would really help out the other athletes because they're not getting as much NIL deals. And let's just say I turn on gymnastics meet and Haley Bryant had like just a ridiculous floor routine. The rush of that would make me want to cash app her $5 or whatever. I would really like that in smaller sports. Now, the issue with that, Carson, is a lot. There is a lot with that. The first is this. If there was a way to determine how to actually get money from cash apps, well, players would do all kinds of selfish things. Now, we do see this in the NFL if a player is trying to get like an incentive bonus. But in college, if it's a bunch of like microtransactions off of really spectacular plays you make, you could begin to get selfish. So, like, for instance, Carson, if I'm a defensive player and I knew that spectacular plays leads to me getting more donations, what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to go headhunt, right? I remember this a few years ago versus Arkansas. So it was a 2020 game versus Arkansas. And believe it or not, this is the second time we brought up Elias Ricks. There was 2 very weird targeting calls. There was one that I think kicked Ricks out of the game. And there was one that kicked Arkansas safety Jalen Catalon out of the game. Well, both are kind of soft, but let's just say it was a real targeting call and you really did knock someone out. That could lead to a ton of donations because nothing gets the juices flowing like you knocking the snot out of the opponent. So it's a slippery slope. I wouldn't know if I would want my players to have that, right? And look, it could lead itself into that. The second thing is it can open up a can of worms when it comes to gambling. All right, it's as Chance points out. If I knew your Cash App, and there is a way I could contact you and send you some money. Well, who's to say I can't just send it to you? Let's just say I'm a USC fan. I send you $1,000, trip on the first play or whatever. But I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe this is, a great idea. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate. I haven't really thought about this. So yeah, Cole says Saints won a Super Bowl with Greg Williams in Bountygate. But maybe we should do this, Carson. Maybe we should. Hey, Carson, I appreciate the supers, man. But no, I'm trying to think of all the other negatives that could come along with it. Now, Carson, let me think on it for a second. A few of you want me to talk about Jalen Green, who's a really good basketball player for the Rockets. Trade Green. I'm for it. I really am. Look, the kid loves basketball, especially this last year where there was a huge controversy about his basketball eligibility. I am down to let Jalen Green go out there and hoop it up. Now, how good how good of a hooper is he? Well, I believe he's a lefty. He's got an outside jumper. He's roughly 6'3", 6'4". So that's a small forward on the shorter end. So I don't know. He's good though. I watch his basketball highlights. Pretty good. How many of these basketball, football situations have worked out to where both of the players or the player is a superstar in both basketball and football? Now, we can go way back. A player who's kind of similar to Trade Green. Now, he's not the same level of athlete in terms of speed and probably leaping ability, but Trade is pretty impressive in both of those. But Julius Peppers of North Carolina, obviously all-time NFL legend, pretty good basketball player at UNC. Wasn't great, but he's pretty good. So, yeah, I mean, I think it could work out for Trade, but I'm for him playing basketball. I really am. So, Trade is 6'7", so maybe let's see. Okay, so he's 6'7", excuse me. I be getting him confused for Kamarion Pimpton, who I think is a little bit shorter. So, yeah, he is 6'7". So, with that exercise, especially at the college level, you can you could definitely play a little bit more low post. So, yeah, my bad. I should have known that. My bad. I appreciate the correction. I think it's Pimpton, who's I think 6'4", but he could be 6'6", 6'7". I don't know. But yeah, I'm very interested to see how this works out for Trade Green, who I like. I really do like. I think as far as a football player, Trade Green might be a little bit more of a year 2 player. So there you go. And once again, Chance, you missed it. Charlie Ward. Like, it's the most random athletes getting mentioned twice. So we have a Florida State diehard who's actually sending a a Charlie Ward jersey in to get framed by one of the people at the card show this weekend. Yeah, Charlie Ward was excellent at both. He won the Heisman and obviously was a good basketball point guard and played in the NBA. So now that's way, way back. Tony Gonzalez, how good of a basketball player was he? I don't know. But obviously football, he's an all-time great. Jimmy Graham. Antonio Gates. Lots of tight ends. I'm so pumped for Saturday, man. So pumped for the get-together on Saturday. It's just such a fun environment. People are going crazy over this Mikal Bridges trade. 5 first-round picks. That's a lot. Damn, 5 first-round picks. That's still insane to me. Now, that's a good one from Jared. Marcus Spears. True. High school basketball legend. You know one that always the one that always gets me is Ben McDonald playing LSU basketball and baseball. Now basketball and baseball is definitely a difficult crossover. That is a very, very difficult crossover. But that one always gets me. Like, I wonder how many LSU fans know, the younger generation. I mean, most know who Ben McDonald is if they're a baseball fan. Yeah, I made this comment earlier. There are still a lot of Florida State fans that fly. Indeed, I vibe with the Florida State fans. And it's ironic Peter Shields, his name is Peter. Peter Warwick, PHL guest. That is still a top 5 moment on PHL, even though it was on the phone for like a minute. Huh? Good to see you, Peter. Florida State. Oh, I'm trying to think why are so many Florida State fans checking in? CJ Wiley's name is on there, and he picked Florida State. That is a really nice pickup. If I'm being honest, like Everyone thought he was going to Georgia, and he's an LSU legacy. He picks Florida State. Mike Norvell's pretty damn good. And look, one thing I give Florida State fans a lot of credit for is the Mike Norvell storyline has been so interesting, because before he played LSU the first time, there was so much pressure on him, so much. And he fielded a really good team then, and then he fielded a really good team last year. And look, I'm not going to go down this road, but I'm going to go down this road again. And I'm not just saying this just to placate to our Florida State supporters, but never in my life have I seen a bigger screw job than what happened to Florida State in the stupid college football playoff. That is an all-time college football shaft job. It's up there with Rams Saints 2018. It is. I will never, ever, 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 ever quit talking about that. And it's going to get forgotten about, and that's perfectly fine. Florida State's fans have moved on. I've not. I will never, ever forgive all the powers that be for that. That it was just an unjust situation, and it should not happen. It shouldn't have happened. And I don't care if Florida State's quarterback was, I don't know. They should have been in the playoff. They should have been in the playoff. I also wanted to, one of you did message me on our Sunday night live stream. Obviously, I went kind of nuts in the beginning, but after a while, I started feeling lightheaded. I was lightheaded all day on Sunday. One of you messaged me and checked how I'm doing. I'm doing fine. But, y'all, this heat is like a Drake song. It ain't nothing to play with. Don't freaking go outside without drinking a full bottle of water before you do so. Okay? Don't play around in this heat, y'all. It is deadly. Deadly. It is not hyperbole. Deadly. It will kill you. Be careful. All right? Be freaking careful. I DJ'd a wedding this weekend, and there was hardly any air conditioning, and it was hot. And, when I got back from the wedding, I was fine. But the next day when I woke up, I was so lightheaded, so drained. And I wasn't the only one. There was other vendors out there in the heat and all that stuff. And, man, y'all do not freaking play around with this stuff. Don't do it. And once again, I want to shout out all our PHLers that actually that actually work in the heat every day. You do roofing. You work on a farm. You work in an oil field. You're a cop. I mean, you're in the heat. Now, cops aren't in the heat as much as the other professions, but man, big uniforms on. Please drink water. Please do. CJ Wiley says, my recruitment is still going to be open. Other schools can still recruit me and stuff. I'm with the Knowles right now. So, yeah, well, he's not really committed then. Like, you guys understand why I don't do the day-to-day recruiting stuff. I just don't. And trust me, I hope my rant on Sunday about Jabari Antoine, I hope I look like an idiot when he commits to LSU in a week or so. Now, Cole, I've not been in the heat again yet. Did you try the crushed ice rolled in a do-rag around your neck? My wife's a nurse and worked a refinery paramedic. Ooh. Yeah, my mom actually recently got like one of those fans that you put around your neck and it just keeps you like very cool. Oh, we got a Dale Brown debate going on. There. I do think how there is a larger section of people, and Al, you also have to understand that there are a lot of people that are fans of LSU basketball, and then there's you. You've been a season ticket holder for decades now, basically, and you've gone to so many games. Dale was not the best tactician. That's just not what he was known for. He was obviously more of a people person, and there are plenty of people that feel LSU basketball should have gotten more juice out of the Chris Jackson, Maravich, Shaq, Rudy Macklin, Temples, whatever. They would say, man, we could have won a natty, we could have gone to more Final Fours, and I could understand that. I could hear those arguments out, but we are not a basketball school, so I'm fine with Dale historically. And something else about Dale that I like is there is a lot of good that has come after his career, right? You hear, like Shaquille O'Neal talking about how much Dale Brown means to him. And there's just so many insane Dale stories. So there you go. I knew Lee Feinswalk for a while. And his Dale Brown stories are insane. Absolutely insane. Lee Feinswalk is a very underrated LSU media member. His storytelling was ridiculously good. One of my guilty pleasures when I'm not doing this is growing my gaming channel, and it's not out yet. I kind of want to just release the first video now. I've already edited, put it together, and I had so much fun gaming again. Like, I only have one game. I'm only going to play 2 games. Dude, PS5, underrated. Did not think I would enjoy this thing as much as I have. And yeah, I kind of just want to. I'll do it. F it. You only live once, right? Let me. I'll post it. Probably not smart to post this at 10:08. Oh, okay. Here's what I could do. This is the. Actually, I'll just post it. F it. I'll be posting a lot of NCAA football content on Power Hour Gaming. F it. Let's post it. Y'all don't make me look like an idiot. Go watch this when you get a chance. It's a soccer video game because the NCAA football game isn't out yet. But Ricky Bobby's in it. That's enough motivation for you. And once again, we'll take a few more. Once you get a few super, we'll keep it going. I'm still waiting for the Master Blaster to ask a question. Wow. Why do content creators have so many different channels for their content? Well, it's simple. Not everybody on your Pegasus likes video games. Like, the only reason I even like video games again is because of NCAA football. And it's not even out yet. So you want to separate. I'll be doing more like college football general stuff pretty soon. But my goal is to be in national sports media. And what I've noticed as well is a lot of national sports media on YouTube started in video games. So I understand I'm spreading myself too thin. I think about it all the time. I've done 1,000 different things, and I'm not like nationally known for any of them. So, and that's fine because I have had a lot of fun doing it. But yeah, it is a lot easier to do the gaming stuff though, because honestly, the kids in our neighborhood, they've taught me a lot about PS5s. The quality of gamers are so much better now. My next door neighbor, he is about to be a 9th grade football player. He came over and played me in FIFA, and he knows nothing about soccer. And he was able to beat me handily with FIFA because their joystick controls are just so much better. Oh, you want me to start an Orchid channel? I can. Yeah, it's Power Hour brewing, where we teach you how to brew beer. We're gonna have Power Hour Fitness, Power Hour Music, my DJ channel. I might actually do a DJ channel. I don't think I'm good enough as I'm definitely not good enough as a scratcher. I can't scratch. But yeah, there are so many DJs that are so freaking good now on social media. Mm. I am into fitness. I'm about to have to start going to a gym again. I run a lot. Yeah, a lot of it is algorithm and stuff. You notice I don't post YouTube shorts anymore because I do long form content. I might post a few more shorts. There's a lot more people that watch my Jaden Daniels shorts. Here's Cole. We need more Christian rappers. Just saying. You won't feel the blessing before you get the lesson. Cole, you're in your bag tonight, man. Huh? 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 There was a guy who it wasn't rap, but there was like this guy who did a lot of like it wasn't like parodies. He was like being serious while being funny at the same time. Where he would change like a lot of these modern like church hymns into like Gen Z phrases like when the world is mid, you are gas, you are gas. It I obviously butchered it. But yeah, what Christian rappers you have Lecrae and Cole's on that Ambien. Ice cold. That could be you, Ice cold. That could be you, man. We actually true story. I can call one of my friends here. I'm not making this up. We actually had a Christian rap group on our soccer team, and we would start off, hold up, wait a minute, put a little Jesus in and go, and somebody would beatbox. I remember my opening line: Jesus is my Lord and my Savior. You better be on your best behavior. That's how I would start a lot of it. But yeah, we would drop freestyles about the Lord and Savior. Now, I'm not Lecrae. No, good. Good, man. We're going to be doing more general college football stuff on the Power Hour SEC. I think that'll do it for me. There's still a good bit of y'all in here, so I don't mind chilling. Ooh. Jared, I'll text you. I don't want anyone popping in. But yeah, that'll do it for me. Big thanks to our guest, Hi Christiana. Don't forget, it's this Saturday in Shreveport, June 29th, 10 a.m. till 4 p.m. Broadmoor Methodist Church, 3715 Uri Drive. I will be set up, so you can come sit and hang with me. Something else about this show that I will like is like at the other PHL get-togethers, they have so many athletes there, and part of it is I show up and interview the athletes, and it gives them good promotion. I like Ty a lot. But since Hayden is the only athlete there, I'll probably interview him. I'll have more time just to chill with PHLers because I got to interview the athlete, and I start editing it and all that stuff, and I, at this show, will be able to just chill and hang. So one of our viewers, DJ Pizza, always brings me boudin balls, like all the time. So I'm looking forward to that. So there you go. But yes, it is Power Hour LSU. Boom. And tonight, wait, hold on. What are we doing tonight? Wait. Why is this? Why is it saying this? That's crazy. Okay. Oh, it's because I changed the YouTube thing. So yeah, if you want to watch my first gaming video, please go watch it. Don't make me look like an idiot. And go subscribe to the channel. And tonight we are doing a lamb. Let's go. Oh yeah, shout out to our top super chatters. Prescia, Tony the Master Blaster, Carson takes home the top prize. Jared with a very nice Venmo earlier. Appreciate you as always. And tonight we are doing, oh yeah, lamb. Let's go.